You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So happy to have you with me here today on this Training Thursday show, where we're going to be going over the 5 best exercises you're probably not doing right now. And I designed today's show in a way so that you can actually take the 5 exercises. I will write them for you today in the show notes. You can simply go to stephencabral.com/937, and I'll write them down. And this is actual workout that you can take with you to do maybe even later today. I think that would be a great thing. Test it out, try it out, put it to good use. That's what it's all about. Is I want to share the information with you on a daily basis, but I would love for you to experiment, to use it in your own life, and then hopefully get great results and share it with someone else. That is what it's all about. So today I chose these exercises, and the reason I really like them is that they can be done pretty much anywhere. You can use almost any type of equipment, whether it's bands or maybe even a kettlebell or one dumbbell. I'm going to show you how to take yourself through it. And these are things that I want to provide more of in the future. Exercise is not something that would be nice to do. Exercise is something that we have to do. Now, of course, as you're hearing me go through all the different body types with our Ayurvedic shows, and next week we'll actually be on exercise in the Ayurvedic dosha body types, is that everyone does need it. So meaning like, there's different types of workouts for Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. But the interesting thing is this, is that we all need about 2 resistance workouts per week. You could do more. Now, I'm not saying you can't. It does depend on your body type, does depend on stress levels, adrenal-based issues, thyroid-based issues, all of that. I'll be explaining more of that next week as well. But we all do need at least 2 resistance workouts per week. And that's because we still need to simulate what we would be doing with our bodies many hundreds and thousands of years ago, which would be manual labor. Really, it's only been about 100 years or so since humans have become more sedentary. And really not even until I would say the 1940s and 50s have people become that much more sedentary. There's just sedentary, basically, more sitting down during the day. That's what we're looking at. So what we need to do is still stimulate our muscles, but also the nervous system, and at the same time, by exercising, believe it or not, there's actually quite a bit of research. You can look this up. Harvard University has some, but it's done all over the country and all over the world, of course, because the United States doesn't hold the patent on doing medical-based research. But when you exercise, not to exhaustion, but when you exercise, and you exercise with weight that's more stimulating than you can currently do, yes, it boosts metabolism, which is great. Yes, it stimulates bone growth, which is great. But it also shuts off certain signals of senescence. And I can never pronounce that word correctly, but what it means is basically the aging of cells. And so by doing just 2 workouts per week, we can actually tell ourselves to stay younger longer. Now, this is important because whether we are young, whether you're in your teens or 20s listening to this and you're just trying to get in great shape, or you've been working now for a number of years and your body's feeling a little bit more run down, life's kind of gotten to you, or you're in the 60s and 70s and you want to become more rejuvenated. Well, Ayurvedic medicine, functional medicine, all of these things teach us what to do. Our functional medicine lab tests that you can, of course, run right at home, well, they show you what you're deficient in or what you might be toxic in. And by doing these types of exercises, again, even just twice per week, well, you're able to signal the body that it needs to stay young, that it has to stay young, and that it needs to build up that muscle mass and bone mass in order to keep up with the new physical demands of your life. And your body will do that. It is a remarkable organism that is here to serve you as long as you serve it, which means you put in the good food, you put in the good thoughts, you give it rest, all of the things with the de-stress-based protocol, right, that I talk about in the rain barrel effect. You do that and it will repay you with everything that you want to be able to get out of life. That's the deal, right? I mean, that's how I look at it. Like, there's so much more that I want to put my body through But I realized that this thing is basically an organism. It's a plant for me to live in. Like, that's really what it is. And if I continue to push it too hard for too long, it's going to burn out. And even though I want to, keep getting as much as I can out of it, I know that there's a give and take to everything. And so that's how we're looking at exercise as well. What I want from you is 2 to 3 days a week of resistance training. I've spoken about this before on many, many training Thursdays. So if you want to go back and listen to even just the training Thursdays, even though I would recommend kind of just going episode by episode, but if you want to just look at the training Thursdays, you can go to stephencabral.com/podcast, and in quotations, just type in TT, and that will take you to all of the training Thursday shows. All of them will populate at one page, and you can check it out. So excited to be able to have that search bar for you. That was something that you asked for, our community requested, and we were able to have our designer set up to be able to go back to all those previous shows. One more thing that I do want to mention is that I know it hasn't come to fruition yet, and it was a goal for 2018, but sometimes you can still have the goal, but the timeline changes. That's it. So a lot of people, they're going to be going through our certification. They wanted to become a health coach, last year, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, and the time was never right. And sometimes it's not. But, I urge you that if this is your calling, if your calling is to help others get well, we're only going to be allowing 100 people in to start. But, it might be something that you do want to look into, because we're going to be teaching some of this exercise and all these different things in there. But basically what I'm saying is I wanted to set up this YouTube channel so that I could create more exercise videos for you, and I create more health topics and really just watch and learn as well as listen and learn, right? So that's what I like to do. And so I want to share a lot of things that I enjoy doing with you as well. So the YouTube channel is coming. It's in its nascency right now. It's just my name. And basically nothing's there. There's videos from like a decade ago. But it is there. If you want to check it out, you're welcome to. In the future, though, we will be doing a full-blown YouTube channel, really nice workouts and a whiteboard teaching, seminars, all of that. It's just kind of one step at a time with us trying to do the best that we can and obviously maintain our current private practice as well. The reason I do mention that is that all of these things are goals of mine and they will come true. But sometimes, like I said, there is a certain amount of patience that we all need in order to be able to achieve our goals. All right, so let's move on now to what are these 5 exercises that you should be doing, really. That these are great things, maybe not to do every single workout, of course, but if you haven't been implementing them in quite some time, I want to go through them. Then you'll get the full workout just as is, really, really simple and straightforward, and I'll even give you rep ranges as well. So, really nice workout. I've done this myself multiple times and through multiple rep ranges. So I'm going to make it super easy. One, you can just do the same workout the whole week if you want for 4 weeks, or I can give you different switches and variations to it as well. So the first exercise is completely body weight until you get really good at it. And then at that point, you can wear a weighted vest. And if you've never heard of a weighted vest before, let me put that in my notes. I will link that up on the podcast page today. We use weighted vests quite a bit at my training studio in Boston. We have 2 locations in Boston. One's the functional medicine practice, and the other is the personal training and nutrition center, which is one-on-one appointments. And that's at, again, if you're in the Boston area, we would love to have you come on in for a complimentary fitness consultation. It is by appointment only, and you can just go to stephencabralstudio.com to sign or to apply to the practice. Okay, so let's move over here. Episode 937 is today. I'm going to put in all the links, all the show notes right there. The first exercise, body weight until you become advanced, and then you can do a weighted vest. It's called hand walkouts. The reason why this is the first exercise, and the reason why this exercise is so great and why you want to be doing it, is that not a lot of people know that this is an amazing way to build up shoulder stability. So the shoulder itself, it gets injured on so many people. Why? Well, if you just move through life with rounded shoulders, meaning like you're over your car steering wheel, rounded forward. You're always leaning forward. You're in a kyphotic posture or kyphosis where we have rounded shoulders, right? We're doing more chest flies and bench pressing and pushing rather than pulling. Our shoulders become internally rotated. When they become internally rotated, this is called a glenohumeral joint. Well, the bones, the ligaments, the tendons do not sit properly. When that happens, there can be a gradual degradation of that joint, of the articular cartilage around that humerus space bone, but also there is some fraying of the ligaments as well. We see that quite a bit. So this is really important to look at because it also leads to a weaker shoulder capsule, and that's just the shoulder. So basically, people get weaker pressing overhead. They also can just become much more injury prone, and their posture continues to suffer because they can't roll back. They can't keep their chest open, right? So that can lead to headaches. It can lead to all sorts of biomechanical based issues. Really important exercise. All right, why is this also great as well? Well, a hand walkout, let me talk about what it is first. Basically, you keep your feet in place. You place your hands on the ground in front of you, and you very slowly walk your hands out as far as you can, keeping balance and keeping strength so you don't fall towards the floor until you go as far as you can. Now, a lot of people will just be able to go to what's called a push-up base position or high plank. But my goal for you is to be able to walk past that. And you'll see some really great demonstrations if you look up hand walkouts on YouTube. I'm sure you'll be able to find some great videos on that. I might even have them in my 10-year-old archive of, at least 10 years old, 10-year-old archive of my diet.com, whatever they're called. I was the body transformation expert over there for a number of years, and that was a lot of fun. Sarah and I did a bunch of videos together. That may be over there as well, but what this does too is it is a phenomenal core exercise. A lot of people think they work their core by doing abs and sit-ups and, maybe even oblique-based crunches, anything you want. But the truth is that a real functional abdominal-based and core exercise is something that you can use in daily life. And I know that this seems kind of ridiculous with a hand walkout, but really it's an athletic maneuver of being able to walk the hands all the way out while not letting your hips sag. And that shows really good core strength. Now, your core, I've done a whole video on this, or I should say a whole podcast on this before. Your core is actually made up of many more muscles besides just the abs that you see, the rectus abdominis. It's made up of the internal and external obliques on basically the side of the body that we call the love handles, right? Affectionately call them the love handles. It's made up of your own internal weight belts that we call the transverse abdominis. It's made up of the erector spinae, the lower back muscles, the much thicker ones. It's made up of the quadratus lumborum, which come off of your spine as well and protect your lower back. It's also your hips. It's your hip flexors, your psoas muscles. So a lot of muscles make up the core. Now, the reason why an exercise like this is so great because it works all of those muscles at once. So when you walk your hands out one hand at a time, as far as you can go, keeping the shoulders strong and stable, and remember, you'll be able to walk out just a little further every week. Your shoulders will get that much stronger, which shows you progress, right? It's amazing progress. And then you slowly walk your hands back. And at the same time, what else is it doing? Well, it's stretching your calves, hamstrings, and lower back. Amazing exercise. So that's first. And the reason we do it first in the workout is that it's going to take the most stability in terms of the most vulnerable joint, which is the shoulder. So we don't want to pre-fatigue the body before we do that, which means we don't want to get it tired before we do an exercise such as the hand walkout. Not that it's a risky exercise, but you certainly want to do it while you're exhausted. All right, so we put that first. Now, up second, this is an exercise I've talked about many times. People are still not doing it. It's called the front squat. I'll tell you, it's kind of funny, but people do it so infrequently, and I've really never heard of a front squat, that we put it first in our clients, in our body transformation clients, first 4 weeks. So as part of the fundamentals program. So everyone at our studio in Boston goes through what's called a foundational-based program. And they essentially have to retrain the nervous system and body to be able to do all of these moves, which, by the way, gets the body into really amazing athletic shape. That's why people get in great shape, not just by going through the standard chest press and bicep curls and whatever. They do it by training like an athlete. And I have a podcast on that as well, how to look like an athlete and train like an athlete. The athletes look like athletes because they're sprinting, they're working in the transverse plane, the sagittal plane. And if you don't know what any of those things mean, go back and check out that podcast as well. But front squats, essentially what you're doing is you're placing the weight on the front of the body, okay? The front of the shoulders or in front of the chest. And you can do it with kettlebells. You can do it with a barbell. You can do it with dumbbells. And you can even put a band in front as well, stepping over the band and keeping it in front. I prefer kettlebells or I prefer keeping dumbbells there. And certainly if you have the wrist and shoulder mobility, I love doing barbell front squats as well. But again, right at home, what could you do? Well, you could do a goblet squat, just holding the horns of that kettlebell, right? The handle of the kettlebell right near the chin. I would move it away from you, about 6 inches away from the body, right around chin height. Amazing exercise. It trains you to sit back on your hips. That is why the front squat is so great, is that it allows you to be a little bit more upright, a little bit more posturally correct, which is called having less vertical displacement. What does that mean? Well, it means your upper body is not tilted as far forward. And if you're a personal trainer, you know that as you're going through your personal trainer certifications, when someone's doing a back squat, they can have what's called about 30 degrees of flexion, 30 degrees of vertical displacement in the upper body, which means there's a 30-degree angle of their upper body when they have the weight on their back. But when you're doing a front squat, it's only 5 degrees of vertical displacement, only 5 degrees leaning forward, almost as if you're jogging or you're running, not sprinting, but you're running. And so what does that mean? Well, it means the more that your chest is up high, the more that your upper body is basically straight with the weight, the more you're working your abs, your core muscles. So again, you are getting a tremendous abdominal workout. Ask anybody who's got their abs really sore the day before by doing some type of ab workout and then try to do front squats the next day. It's so challenging because you're working them so much, and then you get to actually see how much your abs really do work in an exercise that isn't even ab focused. So front squats, another amazing exercise. Love that exercise. It does not get the credit that it deserves, and it certainly should. That should be in your program a couple times a year. It really should, that exercise. All right, next one, a cable one-arm chest press. At our training studio in Boston, we have something called a Kaiser air compressed unit. So it's a performance trainer. I'm not a paid spokesman for Kaiser, but I do think that they have amazing exercise equipment. So this is air compressed. So you can actually push really fast if you want, be explosive. We train a lot of athletes, and obviously the majority of our clients are just everyday people. They're moms and their dads and they're self-employed people, whoever it might be, training at the studio. But really great to do it with athletes as well. And that's because you can move with power and you can move with speed, and there's no jerking of the weight stack. So they're pretty incredible. I really do enjoy training on those. And if your gym has them, just look for Kaiser. It's Keiser. Kaiser Performance Trainers. They're usually attached to a wall, and you can put on handles on them, on rope attachments, whatever you want. And sometimes they have the double arms as well that you can move around. Well, with this one-arm chest press, what I'm going to have you do is step forward with the opposite leg of the arm that you're working. So if you're going to do a right side one-arm chest press, you'll step forward in what's called a staggered stance. Your left leg will be forward, your right leg will be back, and you're going to press on a horizontal plane. Everything basically is going to line up from your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder all in the same line. If anything, you're going to err on keeping the elbow just a little lower than your shoulder. And what that will allow for is actually to make sure that there's no shoulder-based vulnerability. It's a great exercise. Why is this a great exercise? Because once again, you're working your core. Every time you come back with that handle with your thumb towards the front of your shoulder, which is called your anterior deltoid, that front of that shoulder, you are essentially not allowing your body to twist. If you resist rotation, guess what it's working? Your abs, right? Your obliques, the muscles on the side. So again, you are now training like an athlete. If you don't allow yourself to twist, you're also going to keep that lower back safer. Now in the future, you're welcome to twist because you'll have trained your core. Your spine will be more mobile. You'll be stronger, right? Your mid back will be more mobile. Your hips will be mobile, obviously, not your lower back. So you'll be able to then drive forward with that weight, really accelerating, squeezing those chest muscles, coming back and also resisting rotation. So it works the chest, the shoulders, secondary muscle group is the triceps, and then you get to work your obliques as well. Great exercise. What will you do? Well, on this one, you'll actually switch sides then for your next set. You'll do your right side, and then right away go to your left side, okay? Because we're talking about a circuit right now, but we need to make sure we get in both sides. All right, great exercise. Next up is walking lunges. Walking lunges can be done to start with, well, let me go back. The cable one-arm chest presses can be done with a band at home just by putting a band in your doorway. I will link up how to build your own home gym. I've got a great webpage on that, Build Your Own Home Gym. I type very, very slowly. So that I really do. So that's one nice little resource as well. You can basically do what I do, and at home I don't have a lot of space necessarily. But what I do is I put everything in a closet, and that's where I store all my stuff because city living, typically not as much space. But anyway, really, really nice to be able to have all that equipment you can do at home, and you can just use a band, right? So build your own home gym. That has those links, but I'll link them up anyways today at episode 937. So now moving on to the walking lunges, this can be done body weight to start. Once you feel balanced, then you can hold 2 dumbbells by your sides, or you can even hold them up near your chest one at a time, just kind of in a modified Zercher hold, or even a front squat type hold, you can call that, or a goblet squat hold, or a goblet hold, using a kettlebell, dumbbells, anything you want for weight. Honestly, you can use whatever you want. You can just find a 20-pound object and hold it in front of your chest if you want, however you want to do it. But one of the reasons why I like walking lunges, and this is why I do them as a bodyweight exercise every morning as part of my morning routine, is that it opens up my psoas muscles, right? So even when I sleep at night, I'm sleeping on my side in a little bit of that fetal-based position. I put a pillow between my knees, takes the pressure off my lower back. Really, really nice. And that gives me no back pain. And I wake up pain-free. I feel great. But what happens is the psoas muscles are still a little short at night. And then if I sit down at my desk during the day because I'm doing Skype calls or I'm meeting with people, whatever it might be, well, again, my psoas muscles, which is the top of the hip, that do connect up to the spine can become tight. This can lead to all sorts of lower back issues and hamstring tightness as well. A lot of things going on with that. So the walking lunges, believe it or not, every time you take a lunge, the front leg is taking the weight and the back leg is balancing, but you're stretching out your iliopsoas muscles. You're stretching out other muscles as well, but that's the one that gets most of the press. And we talk about it all the time as being tight. Well, you have to open that up. When you open it up, I mean, it's amazing that it starts to correct your hips, which corrects your lower back, your mid back, corrects the cervical vertebrae up in your neck. Amazing exercise to do. So I do it every morning. You just check out my morning routine. But also, my big thing is I add that into a workout program as well because it's working. It's doing a tremendous job, really a functional-based exercise on training all the muscles of the leg, all right? Training the calves, the quads, the hamstrings, the adductors. And it is one of the best glute-based exercises you could possibly do. If you take a nice long lunge, you really get deep into the glutes, especially as you accelerate forward, right? Because you're in a nice eccentric stretch. You're nice and deep, and you just drive out of it. Amazing exercise, really, really great. And of course, you're keeping your balance, which is what? Using your core again. So that's great. That's exercise number 4. And then the last one, exercise number 5 of a circuit, because you can do these one after the other for your whole workout, is one-arm unassisted rows. Now, a lot of people have done one-arm rows before, okay? You can do one-arm rows with a kettlebell, with a dumbbell, with a band, anything you want for resistance. Literally, you name it, you can add the weight to it, and you just do a row. Well, here's the deal with this. Doing it unassisted adds a whole new dimension. You're not holding on to a dumbbell rack. You're not holding onto your knee. You're not holding onto a bench. Your opposite hand, which is not doing any of the rowing, actually stays off to the side of your body. It can do kind of a push-pull maneuver if you want with it, with the opposite arm. But really what you want to do is engage your obliques once again. Let me make this really straightforward. The one-arm row that's unassisted is the exact opposite maneuver of the cable one-arm chest press. So you can do it standing up or you can do it bent over. But either way, you're keeping a neutral spine and you're pulling with that opposite arm. Now, at the same time, you're resisting rotation, and especially as the weight is returning back towards the floor or the machine if you're using a cable or band, well, that's allowing you to engage those ab muscles. You can do it with power, you can do it with speed, or you can do it slow and intentionally with a lot more weight. Amazing exercise. I love that one. And that's also one of the most functional exercises out there. It helps to pull back those kyphotic posture, right? Talked about this in the beginning. Those rounded shoulders, well, we're coming full circle. Because as you pull your shoulders back with this one-arm row, and that's why you have to be very conscious of it, because a lot of people do a one-arm row, and I've seen a lot of personal trainers not correct their clients on this as well, and the clients using their bicep and forearm, right? Their brachialis muscle. You don't want them to do that. You actually want to see the chest open up and the back muscles contract. Great, great exercise to do. Love these exercises. This is a full body workout. We did the hand walkouts, we did the front squats, we did the one-arm chest presses, we did the walking lunges, we did the one-arm rows unassisted. You can do that circuit. That's 5 exercises. You do a warm-up before. You can do a plank. You can do lateral lunges. You can do jumping jacks, anything you want for a warm-up to start with, okay? Just one set. Then this circuit can be done anywhere from 3 to 4 times, all right? And again, if you've never done it before, if you're a beginner, just do it once. And then if you're not sore the next day, then you can do it twice. And if you're not sore after that, then you might try it a 3rd time. Now, if you're more advanced, you can kind of dive into it. Don't use your heaviest weights the first set, but, get into it. Dive into it. Enjoy. That's what it's there for. Exercise should be fun. You should get into it. And if you don't love exercise, so there are some days, to be honest, that I don't love exercise, especially Monday evenings when I go. And the reason is that it's Monday, and the truth is that I have my Mondays are so busy work-wise. And I'm like, I don't even want to leave because I have a lot more work to do. And I'm like, all right, but I have to do this workout. I enjoy exercise, but I'm like, oh, I just got to get there. So once I'm there, I'm good. Like life is good. I love exercising when I'm there. But, this is one of those things. It's something new. It's a new workout. Try it out. In terms of rep ranges, well, here's the fun thing about this workout. You can do it if you wanted to on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You can actually do this 3 times. Now, I don't typically recommend that. I would never typically recommend that. I like 3 different workouts for the week. But you could do this at the 5 rep range, where you're using heavier weights. You could do this at the 10 rep range, moderate weights, or you can do this at the 15 rep range using lighter weights for more reps. All of those are going to stimulate the muscles differently. And it's an amazing way, even if it's just for 4 weeks, to target these 5 exercises, which are foundational exercises, to get an amazing workout. And if you don't have another program, well, then this will work totally fine. Now, if you're doing this just twice a week, which probably makes a little bit more realistic, if you already have a great program, we'll just add this in as one additional day. That would work great. So here's the deal, though. If you're doing this twice a week, probably a little bit more realistic, I would do a day of 8 to 10 reps, so you can do a little bit more heavier weight, okay? Not bone crushing, but heavier. And then you'll do a day of 15 repetitions, okay? The only caveat to that is the walking lunges are never going to be able to be 5 reps. It'll be 10 reps total, right? 5 per leg. And then the 15 reps would go up to 30 reps. You would simply just double the amount of reps that you see there, right? So it'd be 10 reps, 20 reps, or it would be 30 reps. And this is a great thing to add. Again, just a great workout program to add to your repertoire. If you're a personal trainer, you can do this with a client literally next week. If you're designing a new program and this is appropriate for that client, this could be a really great one. It's a program that I enjoy doing myself, and I always want to make sure that in some form or another, I'm getting these exercises into my own program at least twice a year for these specific ones. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.